Hey Year 3s, it's Mrs Woods. Today in your maths lesson you're going to be able to solve word problems using fractions. Some of the vocabulary will be words such as fraction, solve, word problem, numerator, denominator, share, parts of the whole, digits, objects and represent. And I'll talk about each of those words as we go along. So an example of a word problem is this. So it says, a piece of ribbon was 20 centimetres long. So you need to imagine you've got a piece of ribbon that's 20 centimetres long. Jodie needed to cut 1/4, so 1/4. Can you see that's the fraction here? 1/4 of the ribbon. How long was her piece of ribbon? So I'll say it again. A piece of ribbon was 20 centimetres long. Jodie needed to cut 1/4 of the ribbon. How long was her piece of ribbon? So what you need to do, you've got your 20 centimetres and it's asking you, so 1/4 of that ribbon was cut off. So what we need to do, we need to find out how much 1/4 is. So what we do, we're finding 1/4 of 20 centimetres. So remember, if we've got our number here, we have to divide by the bottom and then multiply the answer by the top number. So we start off with 20 and we're going to divide it by the denominator. So d for divide, d for denominator. So 20 divided by 4 gives us 5. So we put 5 down here. And then we need to multiply it by the numerator. So 5 multiplied by 1 is 5 centimetres. So the 1/4 that she cut off is 5 centimetres worth. And then you know that 5 4 was the 20, so we know that's correct. Okay, so variation would be different ways of working out using a fraction. So the first one here says Tracy spent 1/10 of her pocket money. And that's 50p. So it's showing you already what 1/10 is. So 1/10 is 50p on apples. How much did she spend? So let's say again, Tracy spent 1/10 of her pocket money on apples. How much did she spend? So we need to find out how much pocket money she had in total first. So we know that 1/10 is 50p. So remember 10/10 is 1 whole. So we need to multiply the 50p by 10 to find out what the whole amount would be to start with. So 50p multiplied by 10 is £5. So £5 would be the answer for the first one. The second one, there were 16 biscuits in a tin. Kelly opened the tin and found that 2/8 had been eaten. How many had been eaten? So again, we are going to divide and then multiply. So we're going to write it out like this. So you get your bits of information from the sentence and then you write out your sentence stem here. So we know, so sometimes the fraction might be drawn like this, so where you've got the line isn't like this, it's slightly slanted, but it's still on the line there. So these two mean the same thing. So 2/8 is 2/8 like this as well. But ideally we would write it like this. So we're finding 2/8 of 16. So we know we do 16 first. We're going to divide it by the denominator, which is 8. Gives us an answer of 2. Then we're going to multiply it by the numerator, which is 2. So 2 lots of 2 is 4 biscuits. So 4 biscuits were eaten. Okay, and another variation here. So we're using addition with our fractions for this one. So you have to be careful when you're reading. You have to think, is it going to be a subtraction? Is it going to be an addition? Is it going to be a multiplication or a division? So you have to read carefully and work out which operation you're going to be using. So this one says, Harry eats 1/4 of the cake. So imagine you've got a cake in front of you. He's eaten 1/4 and Jack has eaten 2/4. What fraction of the cake do they eat all together? So because it's saying all together, that means it's addition. So we have to add our fractions together. So 1/4 add 2/4 is 3/4. Because remember our rule that the denominator stays the same, but we add the numerators together. Okay, and then this one, it's like the ones we've done previously. You're finding a fraction of an amount. So the local shop normally sells Mars bars for 40p. The shop is having a 1/4 off sale. How much money do you save if you buy a Mars bar? So we're finding what's 1/4 of 40. So 1/4 of 40, we do 40 divided by 4, which is our denominator. That's 10. And then we multiply it by a numerator, which is 1, and we still have 10p saving there. Okay, so it's your turn now. So we've got 2 questions here. So read them carefully. I'll read them out to you. So each box of chocolates contained 9 sweets. Kelly, Jason and Gary were each given 1/3 of the chocolates. how many chocolates did they get? Okay, so each box of chocolates contains 9 sweets. So meaning chocolates, chocolate sweets. So there's 9 chocolates there. So you've got Kelly, Jason and Gary. So that's 3 people and they're given a third. So you'll work out how many each of those people have. So really it's a division calculation you need to use there. And then number 2, Philomena had 1/3 of her chocolate bar remaining and Daphne had 1/4. Who had the most left? So each person is going to have this chocolate bar. So first of all, you need to find out what is 1/3 of this. And you need to find out what's 1/4 of this. So count how many squares there are. There's 12. So you're going to find what's 1/3 of 12. You're going to find out what's 1/4 of 12 and see who had the most left. So which number is going to be larger. Okay, pause the video here and have a go at that. And here's your answer. So the first answer, we're going to find 1/3 of 12